Good afternoon.
Okay, good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon.
Thanks for coming back. Now is the time for the fintech. There's a lot of people are waiting for this particular topic. I'd like to introduce our moderator, Dato CM Vignesh, who will moderate these sessions. He's the CEO of Amper Consultancy and Training. He's no need much introduction. He's well-known figure. Dato Vic, I'm handing over the floor to you for you to introduce famous Bobby as well as Arvinder Greval.
And it's not Arvinder, it's actually Ashwini here representing Arvinder.
Okay, then Ashwini. Dato Vic, all yours. Okay, I think he's having some technical issues. So he was there. Just give us a couple of seconds for him to come back.
Sure.
Dato Vic, are you there? Okay, since we're having, let's not delay the thing. Okay, Bobby, my apologies. I don't have your profile. Okay, Dato Vic.
Dato is here.
Hold on, I'm just having some connection issues. Give me 1 second.
Sure.
Hello, can you hear me, sir?
Yeah.
Yes, loud and clear.
Yes. Yep.
Okay, sir. Thank you so much. So, Mr. Ashwin, right? You are representing Mr.
Yeah, so I'll be
Okay.
participating on behalf of Mr. Arvinder.
Arvinder. Okay, right. So, a bit of okay, can you introduce a bit, sir, about yourself so we can because the
Sure.
profile given to me was about Mr. Arvinder. Yes, sir.
Yeah, sure. I know. It got changed at the last moment because of certain other things coming in. I am Ashwini. I am the head of acquisition and growth for the digital business and Wave Money from Myanmar. And I work with Arvinder, who's our chief marketing officer.
I see. Okay, right. Bobby, maybe introduce yourself a bit.
Yeah, I'm Bobby Varanasi. I'm the CEO of Metrizal Consulting. We are a growth consulting firm focused on acquisitions and mergers, as well as advising governments on ecosystem development, leveraging the technology space.
Okay, fantastic. So, well, today I will let each of you talk first, and we have some questions, and hopefully we can get some questions from the floor. But if they have anything, then we will put it up, and we will have a free chat session. As there's no what do you call confirmed agenda or something like that. We let the floor to take care. And what main objective of this conference is to actually to understand I mean how businesses can pick up themselves post 2020. That's the main thing that we do. That's one of the theme that we want to discuss. So and also the cryptocurrency and talking about e-wallet, those kind of things. So maybe we can have a bit of what they call a roundup on these issues. Then we can take it up from there. Is that okay, sir?
Sure.
Sure.
Absolutely.
Okay, Mr. Raj, we can start.
Yes, please. Go ahead.
Okay, we can start already. Now we are live already, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, we already live.
Okay, right. So, Mr. Ashwin, maybe you can give us a bit of your thoughts on the fintech of the future, 2021. What's going to hold? What's going to happen that time?
Yeah, before I actually deep dive into the topic, I would like to introduce our production services that we offer as of now for people who may not know about Wave Money. Wave Money is a mobile financial services company based in Myanmar. And we have two broad lines of businesses: Wave Money, which is our over-the-counter financial services, operating with more than 64,000 Wave Money shops across Myanmar, and we have the Wave Pay mobile wallet application, which you can use with your mobile phone anytime, anywhere in Myanmar. And primarily, our Wave Money operations, which we call Wave Money OTC service, as I said, it operates through almost about 64,000 agents. We are covering about 300 townships out of 330 in Myanmar, which is approximately 89% of Myanmar. And we have a unique customer base of almost 27 million as of now. And we are also covering almost roughly around 90% of the rural areas. Interestingly, when we started, we were having only 4,000 agents in 2016 and covering only 160 townships across Myanmar. And at that point in time, only roughly 20% of the population of Myanmar had any access to any kind of a formal financial services. And we were the first fintech to get registered. And at that point in time, when we started, was roughly less than 1% people had any access to any kind of a fintech services. But come 2020, scenario is very, very different. Now, specifically in Myanmar, with the penetration of smartphones, there's a lot of potential for companies like who want to venture into digital money space, or the mobile financial services, as we may call it. So we have and other things special, because as we all know, unfortunately, the specialty of 2020 has been the onset of COVID, which has led a lot, or rather has rapidly increased the pace of digitalization. So, and which is actually still moving almost like in a hockey stick shape, and it is still ongoing. So just to give you a glimpse of what COVID has done to us, we are doing roughly around 5 times of the transactions which we were doing prior to the COVID on a monthly basis. So that is the rapid acceleration of transactions that we are seeing right now, and it is, I believe, it will be the same across all the emerging markets across the geography of Southeast Asia and across the globe, perhaps. So that is the kind of acceleration that we have seen because of COVID, and in the present scenario, with the interest and the acceptance of digital services, I think 2021 is going to be a very, very interesting year, wherein we would see a lot of businesses who are based on digital platforms may come up, because after the onset of COVID, the things which have rapidly picked up are things like the businesses of internet service providers, for example, e-commerce, and food deliveries, and all those delivery businesses have come up, and they are doing fairly well, and those are one of the key use cases for a mobile wallet like Wave Pay, which is we are seeing a rapid growth, and not just in terms of transactions, but in terms of the acceptance of all these, or rather uptake in terms of the number of users. The base is expanding, and it is not going to go down. In my understanding, it is 2021 is going to see a lot of interesting new businesses coming in, because digitalization is something which is here to stay, at least for the near future. So that is how I see that 2021 would be a year of rapid advancement, and also to a certain extent will also be a year of a lot of disruption in the way the businesses have been running till now.
Okay, fantastic. Before we go to Bobby, I just a bit of my experience in Myanmar. When I visited Myanmar in 2003 or 2004, there were no internet services. and the currency was so hard to get. We have to go and exchange it somewhere. But it's a stark difference from those days to now 2020. I think it's fantastic growth. So, Bobby, what's your thought about 2021 on fintech?
Well, let's kind of do a rundown, right? We always listen to the great stories of fintech, and notwithstanding COVID, The only growth that's happened in fintech space in this year has only been the payments businesses. Nothing else has happened. Nothing else has fundamentally changed. The promise of fintech was always to make access to finance, access to products, financial products, a lot more affordable, eliminating the quadrat that we had of a bank, an issuer, a merchant, and an acquirer. All of that, which was always the doyen of the traditional banks, the fintechs have always promised to eliminate that nexus and go straight to the customer and provide a variety of products. Blaming it on COVID, I think, is a very nice and convenient way to say that I don't have enough brains to actually get to the solution. The COVID was a phenomenal opportunity actually for most of the fintechs to really get out of the bandwagon of products, for example, like alternative learning, personal finance, right? Uh, what do you call pay-to-play insurance kind of composite services for the SME sector, which is technically about 80% of all ASEAN businesses. But we conveniently forgot all of that. What we have focused on, and all the fintechs are focused on, is going after the payments business because they knew everybody's sitting at home and they're going to buy stuff from food to whatever, right? So the payments companies, and nothing to do with you, Ashwini, it's a great opportunity as a businessman. As an advisor, I see that a massively missed opportunity to have actually brought those products to the table that would have made life a lot more convenient beyond just enabling payments. Unfortunately, in the last 2 years, if you take the 2019 and 2020 comparisons, the amount of money that has gone into the fintech funding space from a venture capitalist actually in Southeast Asia dropped from 1.36 billion last year to only 900 million this year. And again, most of that money went only into payment platforms. They did not go into any of the fintech companies that were actually providing real-time, microservices that really customers needed, whether it was a farmer, whether it was a villager, whether it was somebody in a small town. The opportunity I see, therefore, Dato, for 2021 is for us to get rid of this whole COVID conversation around, enabling payments, and let's really make a change in in providing accessible, affordable financial services to the last mile person sitting in the smallest village. And that's not going to happen from traditional banks. The fintech companies have to stand true to the promise they've been making to their own investors for the better part of 5 years. Like, this is my contrarian view, but this is a reality backed up by numbers and stats.
Okay. So we've been hearing a lot about this, right? About the last mile connection to the what do you call it, the finance services. What do you think Malaysia? How Malaysia is progressing in it? Because from what I hear from Ashwin, Malaysia is still far away from behind from this what do you call even as a money transaction entity, we are still far away. So what do you think? What happens? I mean, what is going to happen in Malaysia in 2021? I mean, your thoughts on it?
So I'll tell you, right? Let's take some numbers from Malaysia, right? In the Malaysian context, in comparison to all other countries, the overall number of sorry, let me give me 1 second. I'll give you some specific numbers on Malaysia, right? We only contribute to 8% of the overall funding marketplace in Southeast Asia. It's a very tiny market. Philippines is 15, Thailand is 15, Myanmar is about 7%, Singapore is 42, Indonesia is 20. Singapore and Indonesia are considered to be the fintech havens. The money is going there. The reason is because there's a whole bunch of unbanked, people, Philippines, Indonesia, where a range of these alternate products have a big acceptance model. In Malaysia, we don't. So what we have guided it to as a country is we have gone after only 3 key product types. Primarily, it has been payments, which is essentially 94% of all fintech here. And then there is 2% of technology companies working with the large banks selling technologies. And then there is another 4% who are probably trying to dabble with alternate lending platforms. For example, you take a MyMy, which recently got into a partnership with the Armed Forces Association, right? The Retired Armed Forces Association, to provide customized financial products just for the retired Army, Navy, and Air Force personnel. Those kind of deals, you only have one in this country in the last 2 years. What we have to do is to shift the focus from payments into more of the alternate, lending platforms. That is when inclusive financial services truly happens.
Yeah, correct. Can I add to what Bobby is saying?
Yes, please.
Yes, please.
Unfortunately, my bad. When I said transactions, I did not really specify what transactions I'm talking about.
No, please. I was not picking on you, Ashwini. So I was just talking about large fintechs.
It's absolutely fine. See, it's an, as Vic said, it's an open discussion. So, absolutely right, Bobby. We cannot really focus on just the payments side. Payments actually is a very small piece in the entire picture. The way I look at it. See, the main thing that Wavemini actually stands for in Myanmar today is the remittance part, which is which is send money or receive money kind of business, which is peer-to-peer transfer. That contributes to a significant portion of the transactions that I said in the beginning.
Right.
However, we are also working on things like we are also collaborating with different government organizations. We are collaborating with different non-government organizations, whether it comes down to loan disbursements or disbursements which are specifically related to maybe even women and child welfare, maternal care. We have disbursed a lot of loans to respective stakeholders in the which are government backed schemes. So we are working on those things. And as Bobby was saying, yes, the alternate lending and alternate saving, for that matter, all these products are in the making. Which we perhaps, as I was saying, the 2021 would be a year of disruption. So these things perhaps have not happened in 2020, but these are some new things which everybody will witness in 2021 and going forward.
Absolutely, I completely agree with you. Yeah, I mean, if I'm a fintech provider, I would go after the right opportunity at the right time, right? What surprises me, Dato, to your question, the larger picture, we think of the developing world. Yes, entire part of this world is developing. Now, Singapore is considered to be a developed nation, right, by all standards. What is interesting is while only 4% of all fintech opportunities in Malaysia, which is considered to be almost developed, is in the alternate lending space, Singapore, the highest fintech marketplace is alternate lending at 31% of the overall size. Funnily, even payments is only 25%. Why then? So that this kind of debunks the myth that developed world does not need alternate platforms because they are already having very robust financial systems. But everybody is frustrated with the traditional banking models and the traditional what you call predatory capitalistic models. If a Singapore can actually show the highest level of adoption with alternate lending platforms, I wonder these countries, whether it's Myanmar, Malaysia, Indonesia, why are we not on that bandwagon? Which shocks me when I saw these reports just last week. I was flabbergasted. If Singapore can do it, why can't we do it? It's shocking,
So maybe it's because of the government regulation or the willingness of the entrepreneurs. I mean, to put the money into that. Which weighs more, a bit more. I mean,
I think it's kind of both, right? See, today you cannot say government says and people do, or people do what they want while government does what it wants, right? It's a collaborative model. And I think whether it's digital banking or open banking, one without the other does not make for sustenance and resilience anyway. I think you need both. But are we talking, right? Are we talking enough? An entrepreneur, Ashwini, me, we are entrepreneurs. We'll go after where the money is. Hey, come on. Let's be frank, right? We're not in the charity business. And we will try to do good. And the government wants to do good all the time. So there is where the confluence is. But are we talking enough? That's where I think we have a lot of room. So to Ashwini's point, while the private sector is going after new products next year, I'm sure there'll be tons of new ones coming up beyond payments. As governments, would they be willing to support those kind of alternate models with the effective regulation, recourse to law, and the last mile, advantages, so that it doesn't become predatory by the big ones coming and biting the small ones away? Right? That's something we have to really look for. I want to see that happening in 2021.
Yeah. I mean, as I said, digitalization, or for that matter, specifically in fintech, since we are talking about the government, I think government in Myanmar has also been fairly progressive in many ways. As I said, in 2019, nobody would have thought of loans getting disbursed directly from government to the last mile via fintech, which has happened this year. And for example, as I was saying, that welfare of maternity care and children and people who may be impacted with some kind of an ailment or any specific segment which requires financial services. In the first half of 2020, we have Wave Money has disbursed almost like 4.9 million USD through the different schemes of which have been there for helping the marginalized people. So that's a significant amount. 5 million USD is not a small amount. So yeah, so these are things which we could not have in 2019 or maybe in 2018. Let's not talk about 5 years ago or 10 years ago. 2 years ago, people would not have, or 1 year ago, people have not thought about this.
True. Absolutely.
Okay. I mean, so my question to either one of you, sir, I'm Mr. Ashwin and Mr. Bobby. If I'm an entrepreneur, I have money now, assuming I got a few maybe 30, 40 million ringgit that I want to invest in the fintech industry. Which is the spectrum, or which is the area that I should concentrate on?
Ashwini, you may want to take it first, and I will follow through.
I think, see, the fintech is not just one. It's not like just one piece or just one single glass of water which anybody can just drink. So there are different components. It's a complete machinery. So whether you want to go into an e-wallet, then you have to be, and even in e-wallet, there are different kinds of wallets which are existing in Myanmar. It's like MFS providers like Wave Money. Then there are bank-led wallets. Then there are telecom operators-led wallets. Then you have different payment systems. Then you have people who are enabling the backend ecosystem, providing the different different technologies in place. So it actually depends on where exactly is in at a very high level. I'm not going to very specific kind of suggestion here, but you'll have to look into where your core strength lies. Do you, for example, if Wave Money, if I talk about from a Wave Money perspective, our strength lies in the distribution network that we have in the country. So do you have the willingness to establish that kind of a distribution system, which will take some time, obviously, or you want to go become a payment aggregator and all those things? So there are multitude of opportunities available.
Absolutely. Yeah, I completely agree with Ashwini, and I think I'll take a slightly larger view and also give you an example way out of this part of the world to close the point. I think there are two types of fintechs, Dato. There are the consumer-facing fintechs, and then there are the backends. These are the ones who are actually the tech companies more than the fin companies, right? Their emphasis is on tech. And for a Wave Money, their emphasis is on fin, but they leverage tech, right? Am I right in saying that, Ashwini?
Yeah, correct.
Right. So I think the way of the future is not the tech, it is the fin. And a lot of these startups, I think 95% of the startups in the fintech space are tech heavy and fin light. What we need is mindset change. So let's talk about the fin heavy kind of customers, companies. These are the ones that can either go and replicate. If somebody has 40 million ringgits and I'm sitting in Malaysia and I'm thinking, you know what, I'm not going into the payment space. A, it is too crowded. B, it is too very thin margins. And three, I can get very easily acquired by somebody for $10 million, and then I'm looking to 100 million, I will not get to it, right? So all the three reasons why I don't want to go into payments. Where I will go is a greenfield. Now, what's my greenfield is an example I gave earlier, My. They went into a pure greenfield because when they applied for a digital bank license, the size of the license itself was like, it was like my friend Joe who runs it. He said, you know what, to hell with it. I'm not going to put in, 50, 60 million bucks to get a banking license. I'm going to go after alternate lending. And he went and partnered with this Armed Forces Association. He's got now 1 million customers, right? Now that's his base. Now, what can he not sell them to? He can make so many financial products and sell them to, and he's got a business for the next 10 years. It's greenfield. So I would want to do that with 40 million that I have. Now, however, let's not think fintech is very new. I'll give you an example of an organization called Casas Bahia, started way back in 1954 in Brazil, in the slums of Brazil, by a man called Enrico Bahia. It is a poor country, just like India is, and nobody was lending to these people because they were day wage laborers, right? They were not even on a payroll. So but somebody needed, a stove, somebody needed a pressure cooker, and they were not able to, collect the money because their wages were not enough. So they started pooling what we call in India as chit funds, right? They started doing that. It started in 54. Today, Casas Bahia has got a portfolio of some $25 billion of lending. They do all alternate financial programs for the last, 50, 60 years now. Their credit risk, in fact, their default rate is 0.08%. There is no bank on the planet who's ever come close to that. What have they done differently? We can learn from 1954, they've been doing it. So fintech is not new. They did it with ledgers and books. Today we are doing with tech. But what they focused was on the fin part. We should also focus on the fin part.
Just to add to what Bobby is saying, I think a
Interesting.
slightly micro view here. We also, when we are saying that somebody who wants to foray into fintech as a business or fintech as a domain, so other than what we just mentioned, there could also be, will also have to see that there's an opportunity of being a B2C kind of a business to consumer kind of an opportunity, or you can also become a business to business kind of an opportunity. So there are projects in Myanmar who are working into purely B2B space also.
Yeah.
So you have to, as an entrepreneur, since you said that you as an entrepreneur want to foray into fintech, so you have to think where actually you would like to, where your core strength lies, and then actually you can, and opportunities are in both the spaces. It's not just that B2B has less opportunity or B2C has more opportunity. Opportunities exist in both places, as Bobby has very rightly pointed out. We have to think, how do we do? I mean, it's probably the same things being done differently, or different things. Obviously, we do completely different things. We have to take a call there.
That's right.
Yeah.
Okay. I received a question about crypto actually. So I think it's a topic that most of the people want to know. So any thoughts on it, Bobby?
Crypto, where is interesting, right? So there are cryptocurrencies and then there is the crypto component. Let's separate the two, right? Let's not talk about the two in the same word. Currencies, yeah. Cryptocurrencies have always been premised on anonymity. And no government on the planet allows for a transaction to be anonymous, right? When you send a money, when you load your Grab wallet, your name is there, your account number is there, your entire IC number, all the data is there, right, Dato? So you cannot say, I did not make the transfer, right? It's impossible to do that unless you're also a hacker and you go into the system and hack it, right? So traceability is a fundamental underpin for any financial transaction worldwide. Cryptocurrency eliminates the traceability by making it anonymous. And that's the reason why no government on the planet has ever adopted cryptocurrency in the original form that it was meant to be, right? Because that particular set of people who started it were trying to create an alternate economic model that hated the, what you call, the fractional reserve system of banking that we have in place. We're all under one system. It's called the fractional reserve banking for the last, from 1950, from 1945 and 1946, I think, yeah. They wanted to move away from that and create a brand new standard. 46, right? Yeah. Now, however, what has happened, if you can look at, say, I think Switzerland has done it, Singapore has done it. They have created what is known as the stable coin. What they have done is they have digitalized the physical currency to do two things. One is to continue to keep the traceability, but make the transaction seamless by using digital technologies so that it can cross borders very easily. However, the traceability still is maintained, but the value of that currency or that coin is pegged to the local currency. So in Singapore, stable coin of Singapore is tied to the Singaporean dollar. So if Singaporean dollar is worth 3 Malaysian ringgits today, the stable coin is also worth 3 Malaysian ringgits only. It doesn't really matter which medium. Do you use a Bitcoin to use a transfer? Do you use Litecoin or you use a Libra? Anything, it doesn't really matter. So the value is maintained. Once the value is maintained, the biggest opportunity with cryptocurrency is it moves away from a store of exchange to a store of value. So from a store of value to a medium of exchange. When today, you cannot take a gold chain and walk into a restaurant and say, I want to pay for my dinner tonight with the chain, right? Nobody is going to accept that gold chain.
Yep.
Would you agree? The same problem with these cryptocurrencies is that you cannot take the cryptocurrency and walk in and buy some commodity. But if it became a medium of exchange, because it's traceable, it is all the way valued, then you could go and use Bitcoin or Litecoin and buy a meal or buy a hotel room for a night.
So true. Actually, the concept of crypto becomes a little more critical in places like Myanmar, because here one of the biggest challenges or impediments, or if we want to call it bottleneck, is the digital literacy and the financial literacy of people.
Absolutely.
So if things are clearer and simple, people will definitely adopt it, and it is easier for people to actually move ahead in that direction. But if as Bobby was saying, if there is any amount of ambiguity anywhere, at least I can say for sure in Myanmar that thing is not going to fly. No matter how many dollars you put behind it, no matter how much you do a great marketing campaign around it, it has to be very, very simple.
True. And that will to kind of give you another perspective. You keep hearing terms like ICOs and stable coin offerings, international coin offerings. All of these are essentially alternates to people raising money on the stock exchange, right? They're just floating coins. But each of the coin, just like the stock, right, of your company, if you were to float Amper tomorrow and you issue 100 shares, it has got some value, right? Each share. Maybe you'll say, I'll sell it for a 10 ringgit premium on a 1 ringgit par value. Of course, now par value has been eliminated. Never mind that. So your share is worth 10 ringgits. I'll buy it so I get a piece of your company. Now, instead of you issuing a share, you issue me a coin, right? It is called Amper coin. Now, what is the coin tied to? It is not tied to your business at all. It is just that you took your shares and equated them to coins and you floated coins. Now, can I trade that coin on the KLSE? I cannot. Can I exchange it with Ashwini? I cannot. Can I exchange it with you? I cannot. So what do? Then I'm just hoping that your coin value keeps going up because Dato Vic is my friend, right? There's no other trust factor here. And that is the challenge with ICOs and all these things, these offerings that people make, right? It is basically a con game.
Okay, it's interesting. So okay. I, as an SME entrepreneur, I'm a small medium enterprise guy and stuff like that. If I want to get plugged into this fintech game, what should I do?
The first thing is why? Are you wanting to get into the space or you want to leverage the space? I think that's the fundamental question. For example,
yeah.
Sorry.
Sorry.
Go ahead. No. Assuming that there is somebody who is supplying trucks, there are many companies, right, who have 20, 30 trucks they supply to 7-Eleven, right, for distribution network, say within the northern corridor, Perak, Perlis, all of them. So there is, let's say, one gentleman who's owning 50 trucks and he leases these trucks out and gets some revenue. How will he play in the fintech space? What makes sense for him is to ease the transaction ability of his payments, right? Because he's sitting on a 30 or a 60-day payment window with 7-Eleven. And if he can reduce that turnaround time, then he is probably in a much better position to be able to go and set aside some cash for his inventories, establish his maintenance costs, etc. So whether he wants to do it himself or whether he wants to go to a fintech company and say, please build me a solution, that's a different matter. But if he wants to get into the fintech space, then he has to stop thinking trucks. He has to start thinking management of the financials around trucking.
So true.
Okay.
Yeah. So you have to actually, you have to look at it from your vantage point actually. From an organization like from an organization like Waves perspective, for example, we are trying very hard for financial inclusion, and we are trying to build a more fairer way. What we call our mission is to build a fairer way, Myanmar. So we are looking at the financial inclusion piece.
Yeah.
And what are we able to do? As we were saying in the beginning, we are looking at the payment scene, we are looking at the remittance scene, etc. But if you are if you are a SME or a MSME, I think as Bobby was saying, I think you'll have to look at which portion of the problem you want to solve. Of your if I say forward linkage or backward linkage, or maybe the assembly line that you have in your business, which piece do you want to solve it through digitalization or through the fin part or the tech part? Because it's a combination of all these things.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. I meet a lot of entrepreneurs and they have this one particular problem. They are hoping that they won't get sucked into this digitization process. A lot of people still want to keep their businesses in the traditional way that they've been doing or their forefathers has been doing. So there's a lot of resistance on people's part on accepting that what do you call digitization of payments and how they collect money, how they're going to spend the money, how they're going to pay the money is still very low among a lot of Indian entrepreneurs, especially in Malaysia. I'm not sure about other countries. So what's your advice to them? Do you think that after COVID ends, 2021, maybe everything goes away, it will revert back to the old process, or it will keep chugging ahead forward?
Okay. See, again, it depends on the nature of the business. And I would say that nature of the business plus which portion actually can, there are obviously there in a entire business, there are different components and not everything can be digitalized. Not everything can be run in a traditional manner. However, if there is a scope of in any of the portion, if you feel that there, or if there is a scope of digitalization, or if somebody else is digitalizing it, it's best to start now, or it was best to start yesterday before somebody else does it. Otherwise you will miss the bandwagon. And this digitalization is something which I think if not now, in the coming years, it is something which if you miss it now, probably you will miss it 5 years hence also. So you, if it is a business, for example, it's a purely traditional, let's say, procurement business, you are just procuring grains from one place in another place, still your payments can be digitalized. And that is what different even different governments are looking at in different parts of the world. Payments are probably something which most of the people are focusing on. As Gopi said in the beginning, payments are something which most of the people are focusing on, how to digitalize the payment or how to digitalize your distribution system. So depending on the nature of the business and which piece can be digitalized, I think as an entrepreneur, it makes a lot of sense to actually move ahead with digitalization at whatever scale. I mean, you can start at small scale, start early.
Yeah. And to complement what Ashwini has said, Dato, let's not confuse digitization with digitalization. And the rhetoric we have heard for 10 years about a digital ecosystem in this country more than anywhere else. We talk about a great digital ecosystem that is more exclusive than inclusive in nature, because it's all about the modern technology piece and tech for tech's sake as opposed to tech for some value. Why that Indian entrepreneur or a Malay or a Chinese entrepreneur is not embarking on it is because it does not speak his language. It speaks the language of technology, codes and bits and bytes, and why he will look smarter carrying a laptop around. Whereas this old man is riding, broken down Toyota. It's not his problem. We have not talked his language. What is his language? It's in costs and growth. Do we understand their business enough? Do we articulate the fact that digitalization, not digitization? Digitization is basically moving your physical ledger to a computer. It's no different. You're still doing the same things only, right? But digitalization is enabling the business from an end-to-end standpoint, wherever be the entry. The entry may be his function of risk to say, you know what, prove it to me small. Exactly to Ashwini's point. Prove it to me small. Show me that you can reduce 4% of my costs currently in my procurement. If I can reduce 4%, now he starts believing that, okay, something great is happening. How can I now expand that value? Because he's seeing the value. It's not the cost. He's looking at now 4% as savings or a capital conservation that he can probably invest in his business on the forward side. Or you show him growth, or you show him both. We do not speak that language. We talk about digital ecosystem. We start with R and we end with Python. And in between, we talk about big data. We don't talk about agriculture, grains. We don't talk about any of those languages.
Okay. I think, Mr. Raj, do you have any other questions from the floor? I think we have extended our time a bit more.
Yeah, sorry for that.
Yeah, team, I am Partha this side.
Two more.
I have a small question. In fact, thanks for clarifying the digitization and digitalization, the differentiation. From a startup prospect, okay, I just want to have your opinion about any startup in the financial inclusions in the what you call this, like for small entrepreneurs, automation, the process of disbursement or something like that. Is there any scope for this microfinance prospect?
There are a lot of them, Mr. Partha. I'll give you an example of an organization in India. It's called Ruban Bridge or Rural Urban Bridge. It's run by a gentleman called Madan Padiki. I will share his contacts with Dato, and he can then probably pass it on to you. I would urge you to have a chat with him. What they have done is they started it as a phase wise. They started with employing illiterate individuals in the services space, and slowly went across to offering services. They worked with Amazon on the front end, but leveraged unemployed youth in the villages, and then started creating technology platforms to enable micro payments to them, micro lending to them, so that they could go and set up their small shops. Eventually converted them from employees to entrepreneurs. And what he did was to leverage the large companies platforms on a subscription model to actually build solutions for micro and medium enterprises. So you don't have, so for you, your capex would be zero. You will have an opex go out as a small little fee for the services, and you can turn them off anytime you want. Now, how deep and how wide you want to institute that automation technologies into your business, it's your decision to make, right? How far are you willing to go in the digitalization piece? But India has got some of the best examples on the planet. There is no part of this world that actually has any good example as good as India has.
Hey, thanks for your clarification. My question is very specific. We are having a small mission coming up in the month of Jan. From 10th of Jan, we are going deep into southern states and collecting all these women entrepreneurs and self-employment groups. There is a mission called, there is one of a close friend of Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam. He is working on this mission of gathering people and then doing it. And we have been entrusted the job of providing a digital solution for them. In fact, the platform in which you are talking is developed by us, and we have also have a startup expo going around. If you have time, please pay some time to visit and give your feedback.
Sure.
So we have been entrusted that job next to bring those people to forefront and then take them universally. So we are working in that particular domain.
That's a great thing. What's your goal, Mr. Partha, in terms of engaging the women? What's your goal eventually? Employment? Is it employment or just empowerment?
Entrepreneurship and empowerment.
Perfect.
That's,
I think great.
Yeah, there are quite a good of women entrepreneurs deep inside, and people normally misuse them because they are not much of literate. As you are talking about, end of the day, farmer or whoever, he knows only how much money he makes. He's not bothered about the system or your arithmetic. Okay, what is the language you use, whether it is Python or AI, whatever it is, he's not bothered about that.
True.
He wants, okay, today I made some product and it has been sold and made my livelihood. So that is the bottom line of the story. So we are working upon that. Let's hope things are going to.
No, absolutely. I'm sure you will do very well, Mr. Partha. May I suggest, and I will give you another contact. There is a program called Iron Lady, started by a gentleman called Rajesh Bhatt out of Bangalore. His focus is purely on women empowerment. What they do is they work with entrepreneurs like you who have the last mile access. You have the access to all the women. You're looking at empowering them, providing them with employment, or you're helping them become entrepreneurs. But what are all the skills that they might need? What are all the technologies that they might need? All of those, how do you bundle them for each of the sectors they want to address? Somebody wants to be in the healthcare space, Anganwadi. Somebody may want to be in the retail space. Different things, right? Iron Lady is actually a world-recognized program. It started only 3 years ago, and it has taken India by storm. The founder, Rajesh Bhatt, is an extremely good friend of mine. I'll also share his contacts. Mr. Partha, if not anything else, just give him a call, have a chat with him, share your idea. I'm sure they can stand with you at the back end and really enable your model.
Yeah, thanks for your inputs. In fact, I'm delighted. You gave some base inputs where we can pick up the scratch and go ahead. And what we are trying to devise is provide an automated platform, which is an e-commerce built. People, they get the product and display it digitally, and the buyer is unknown to them. And we devise the payment mechanism, and money goes there, the product gets delivered. So end-to-end connectivity we are trying to do with our platform, and it has been named as Kalam Bazaar. Kalam Bazaar is the title that has been given, and we are optimistic we can do it. So any service that
I'm
you
sure.
have,
I'm sure you will.
yeah, I'll take your coordinates from Raj or anybody else, and we'll
Okay.
share.
Yes, please. Yeah, sure.
All the best to you, Mr. Partha.
Okay, right.
Thank you.
All the best.
So I think we had a very engaging 45 minutes discussion with Bobby and Ashwin. I mean, I've engaged a lot with Bobby before, so it's always lively and stuff like that. And equally, Mr. Ashwin, also you have given us a lot of thought on how fintech industry is going to move on. So with that, I thank both of you all. Thank you very much for what you call adding this session and giving your thoughts and inputs for us. And thank you for those people who actually posted the question. And so signing off, Mr. Raj, it's off to you now.
Thank you.
Okay,
Thank you. I got a rush for a meeting. Sorry.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Catherine?
Okay, thank you very much, Dato Viggs, for moderating this session on fintech, and of course, Mr. Bobby and also Mr. Ashwini. I'm sure what is being presented just now would help the business owners can understand the importance of having a business projection. So it was actually a very enriching session, and I'm sure many of y'all would have actually learned a lot in that. Now we go into the next session. It is on e-learning, and the moderator for this session is Mr. Guna Segran, the chairman of GOPIO International Business Council. And we are fortunate to have Mr. Rajasingham, the managing director from Brickfields Asia College, a well-known of BAC from Kuala Lumpur. So, Mr. Guna, I pass the floor to you. Thank you very much.
Good evening. Vanakkam, namaste. Once again, we are here. I'm here as a moderator. We have Mr. Rajasingham from Malaysia. I just briefly inform who is Mr. Rajasingham. He's in education line in quite a long time. He's established a very strong brand named BAC, Brickfield Asia College. He's actually co-founder and currently a managing director. He's an educator, entrepreneur, and a founding member of a range of companies specializing in education and also ID development and so on. He received numerous awards. Of course, he's in ASEAN Business Advisory Council as well as ASEAN Mentorship for Entrepreneurs. Okay. To be summarized, he has done a lot of community service also in Malaysia, not only for Indians, overall for Malaysians. He has reskilled thousands of students in Malaysia. And I would like to inform you all that he also is one of our GOPIO International Business Council advisor. He's always willing to help us, advise us in whatever way we can. He's very approachable. He's a very simple guy, though he's mega in Malaysia, but I'm very surprised. He's a very simple and very approachable. We are delighted to have Mr. Rajasingham. Probably Mr. Rajasingham will have some presentation to do, and then it will be a question and answer session. E-learning is a very challenging field now after this COVID. As you all know that many colleges or universities are shut down, and they have migrating to virtual learning. How challenging is the virtual learning, this online education, and how these challenges will take this education forward for next year or whatever in future? Are we going to have the physical presence, or we're not going to have physical presence anymore, or all of us are going to do virtual? I think the
right.
will tell. Mr. Rajasingham, am I ready?
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Please go ahead. Thank you.
Okay. Hi, thanks for having me, and nice to see you, Guna, listening on the media panel as well. The key thing we're going to look at is, as far as online learning is concerned, it's going to be a way forward, but we have to see. I've got a very strong echo.
Sorry, Mr. Rajasingham, your line is not clear.
No, I'm hearing a very strong echo. Somebody's mic is on.
Perhaps you are logged in from two different machines. You may have to quit one machine.
No, I'm only logged in from one machine.
No, I could see two machines over here.
See now?
Yeah.
Yeah, now it's clear.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, now it's clear.
Hello?
Yes,
Yes, it's very
Hello?
clear.
You are audible.
It's
You
very
please go
clear.
ahead.
Thank you.
Okay, they all logged off. Okay, sorry, I think they've muted themselves. So, very quickly, as far as online learning is concerned, online learning has been there for a long time. Now, with the whole COVID thing that has taken place, everybody's had to move online more quickly, even the traditional type institutions. And I think in Malaysia, for example, all schools are shut at school level, primary, secondary, and even tertiary level. Everyone has had to move online. Now, while it's great for some areas of study where there's less of a problem, but for things like medicine and those areas where there's more practical and working on with patients and working in labs, it has been a little bit more challenging. But for areas like business and law and accounting, I think it's a lot easier to cope with those sectors as well. So I think, Guna, I think the change is there, and now we've got all these new normal hybrid campuses. So, for example, even our campus is operating earlier, where they come in, their students who are studying face to face. Others from other states and jurisdictions will not come down. They stay wherever they are, because if they come down and then all of a sudden the school closes, then they have to go back, and then interstate travel is a problem as well. So I think we've managed to work around that. But e-learning is a good way to go, but there are issues, because I think the whole thing about college life is all the excitement of that interaction. And while you can do some interaction online, things like you have your games, your football, your playing cricket, your whatever games that you have, it's very hard to sort of replicate everything online. You can have some PS4 and some Hearthstone and some esports online. Gatherings, the students' gatherings, the prom night, the freshers' night, the whole this thing. But now everything has moved to webinars, like what we're doing today, to webinars and those kind of structures. So, yeah, I think that's the key element or problem to look at. So I wanted to share some slides, but for some reason I can't seem to share the slides on this screen. So I will just run through some sectors in education. Now, first one is the new normal campus. So today, all campuses have to reinvent themselves in terms of having certain initiatives, the normal stuff that takes place everywhere, from your social distancing to your temperature checking to your contact tracing to your screening. But in addition to all of those comes the use of boards. Yeah.
Mr. Raja, sorry. Mr. Raj, want to say something? Go ahead.
Mr. Raja, can you just try to click on the share screen? You will get the technical person to support you.
Guna, you were waving at me to stop. So.
Yeah, Raj.
No, are you able to?
You're muted.
In your screen, there is one button called Share Screen. You can just click it and then start sharing your screen.
You're getting it?
I'm unable to hear you.
No, Mr. Pata is talking to you.
There is one button called Share Screen in your browser. If you see at the bottom, at your browser, if you see in the bottom, there is one button called Share Screen. A TV emblem is there.
I really don't know what's happening, because I can see you, I can't hear you. Everybody else is muted.
Mr. Pata, can you
what I'm going to suggest is,
can you show your face? Pata, show your face. Tiaga, Raj, yeah.
Sorry, what?
Just log in using that link, log in again.
No, you need not log in. There is one button at the bottom that is Share Screen. Maybe you can ask the junior Raj Singham to come forth. I can help him out.
Maybe just
He basically, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now you
I don't
could
know.
see that.
Now I can hear
Can
you.
you see that? Can you see that share screen button at the bottom?
Yeah.
You press that and enable the checkbox at the bottom with audio and select the screen which you want to share and then press share.
Share audio. Okay. It's not application window. It's not showing us.
Yeah, but it's at the bottom, but it's okay. Wait, let me try this.
Just click it.
No, because it's not showing. It's showing that it's share, but it's not showing our PowerPoint.
No, there one window will open.
Ah, that's the one. No,
Okay.
finally.
Got it.
Okay.
Share.
Okay, got it.
Got it.
Okay, finally. Yeah. Okay. I'll finish this in about, I think we've got 4 minutes since we started a bit late as well with these problems. Now, the thing is very quickly, if you look at the education sector, we are moving to mobile first learning. So actually more students, youngsters are actually learning on mobile. I mean, there are lots of applications. So you can actually have your entire experience on mobile. We're looking at micro-credentialing. So this is another area. The democratization of education. So fees becoming lower and lower and universities being able to operate across borders. We're looking at transdisciplinary studies. So instead of studying in one area, we're looking at studies across multiple disciplines, cross-institutional partnerships. So for example, in our case now, we have lecturers from universities in UK, foreign universities who are now teaching our students in Malaysia on a daily basis for hours through live teaching via Zoom. We're looking at lifelong learning, even things like e-convos, virtual education fairs, the entire structure is there. The new normal campus is your hybrid type campus situation. You then have, these are e-learning at its very simplest, is synchronous and asynchronous. Synchronous is where they're doing everything live. It's real time. You interact with the lectures. You participate in active discussions. You get immediate feedback, personal interactions. Asynchronous is, for example, things like platforms like Coursera and a lot of these platforms like edX and where actually there's a lot of recorded material. You can go in anytime, access anytime, and then take your time to go through the modules when you're free. Virtual libraries, look at notes they have, and then you can join online discussion forums. So for us, for example, in our school, what we have is we have live lectures who actually do the lectures live in all the colleges and schools we run. Everything is done live, and then it's uploaded onto the platform in case students miss the class or they want to watch it again or they want to revise, they can always go back. And ultimately, it's a matter of putting all of this content together. Now, there are a whole bunch of e-learning tools because I've asked to look at e-learning from virtual proctoring for your exams, virtual conference like Teams, Zoom, running your virtual classes, your learning management system, your lecture captures like Panepto, forums and discussions, digital libraries, digital authoring tools, gamification to make it interesting for students, things like Kahoot, Slido. Then you've got virtual graduation, now blockchain certificates, virtual internship platforms where people can actually come in and actually do everything from a virtual point. So what's happened to institutions, even like ours, is to actually reinvent ourselves to see everything that we do in the physical sense and replicate everything online. Even student experiences, so things like parties, talentine shows, whatever they do, everything has been replicated as much as possible. But nothing beats sometimes having, some of that. You have to have that physical interaction and those elements. Now, this is a BAC Learn, a typical learning type platform. And if we look at these things, you will then see, now students can study for any of these university programs from here, from Malaysia, from India, from anywhere through these platforms. So this is like our global initiative for our law faculty. We have lecturers from Oxford, from Cambridge, from London, who now lecture for our students on a daily basis, in addition to the local faculty. Abacus is a thing that we came up with during COVID, which was basically to increase our digital content because students couldn't come to college. They can't come into the library. So we actually went and got ebooks for everything that we have. We had collections earlier. We increased all the content, brought in a news thing, and then created Abacus. which now has over 100,000 videos and things that actually students can actually come in and interact 24/7. So they get books online, and it gives them access to millions and millions of pages of curated information, working with some of the largest databases outside. Now, one of the key things we have done for e-learning, and we've done this even from before, is the large increase on our free e-learning platforms. So we have BAC Flix, which is actually a free education platform for school students and primary and secondary. We now have 175,000 students who are studying for their primary and secondary school through these platforms. So we have SJKT Flix for Tamil schools, SJKC for Chinese schools, PT3 and UPSR for government schools at lower levels, SPM Flix. So this is one of the initiatives. And our SPM Flix has 70,000 students who are studying, and we actually have about 8,000 over videos there. Now, this then becomes another aspect of e-learning. One of the things we've done is, in order to help build a digital workforce of Malaysia, we've actually funded this thing called Project Deep, where we have 10,000 Malaysians are studying for free for digital courses. And these courses are in these areas, from project management to entrepreneurship to social media, graphic design, digital marketing. The whole purpose here is to try and build a digital workforce for Malaysia. And it's sort of a 50 million fund, which is actually funded by the company itself. And we've also got content from LinkedIn Learning, Coursera, and so on. And then Project Entrepreneur is to sort of build 10,000 entrepreneurs from micro businesses. I heard Mr. Pata was talking about women. We have trained about 1,500 women from the low-income sector to help them build their businesses, brand it, and then now we are building platforms for them to market their products as well. Lastly, I just want to finish this as quickly as possible in case there are any questions. We have set up Veritas University, which is the world's first paid-forward university. Basically, it's a social enterprise model. These are courses that are run. The student pays fees, and then we use that money to fund a person who is from the B40, or even those who are from marginalized communities and the special needs. So they wouldn't have to pay. So these are, we've got MBAs, Masters in Digital Transformation, and then building for skills for the future. So that very quickly takes me through what I wanted to look at briefly, and brings me back in that 5 minutes. So if there are any questions, we can take them now.
Mr. Rajasingham, there is one question from one of the viewers.
Yes.
Mr. Panir Selvam, yes. What are the key challenges preventing e-learning?
What are the key challenges preventing e-learning?
Success.
Now, yeah, the way I look at it, in some cases, is because those in rural areas who have a bandwidth problem. Some of them may not have the hardware required, which is at least a computer or a handphone would work. But if you're doing technical stuff, you will need, if you're trying to learn programming, a handphone is not going to be enough. You will actually need desktop. So for some, because of the rural poor, or what we call the digitally poor, digital poverty, they won't have access, and also not the hardware required. So that will be one challenge. The second challenge is because classes are generally global type of classes, the companies themselves, your workforce, because your workforce has to be comfortable with using these digital technologies. In many cases, when it was coming anyway, if it come at a slower rate, they may have gotten ready. But many of the staff, sometimes, especially those who are slightly older and who are less friendly, they have a problem to sort of migrate and change. So that is a problem. So there's a need for upskilling, reskilling, and also running those kind of courses. So in my case, a lot of the staff actually we had to run for a lot of the teachers, courses on online teaching, classes for online teaching, but still there were some very senior faculty members who actually found their transition more difficult.
Other than this, do you foresee any vernacular issue or even these content issues? Anything you face in this?
Content issues are, okay. In terms of content, a key element is going to be the quality of your teachers. And I think one of the big problems a lot of schools faced was all of a sudden you had parents sitting there listening to the classes and what the teacher. So normally in a classroom, a teacher teaches 20 students in front of him. Now he has 20 students and all their parents and uncles and aunties all sort of sitting there and listening to the lecture and coming up with their own opinions as to what is being taught. Or, they taught it this way, or he did this. And that actually puts a lot of pressure because the teacher doesn't expect that entire audience. But I think it's something they grow, and people have to understand the expectations as well. So, like in our case, what we have done is we have seen a lot of opportunities coming out of it. So when we have say, for example, our law faculty, it's a very, very strong faculty. So those guys were teaching. Then suddenly we saw the opportunity to go and get lecturers from Oxford University, Cambridge University, the University of London to also teach for us as a sort of a young faculty. So we have 18 of these professors now teaching with us, and they're all the leading authorities, textbook authors for these subject areas. Then we got people like Coursera to come in for extra content, LinkedIn Learning for extra content to add on to that content. Then tied up and done deals with people like Amazon for AWS Academy, Microsoft, IBM in order to get that content. So I actually feel there's huge opportunities to draw on knowledge and skill sets which weren't there before. So that ability to collaborate. So all of a sudden we are working with universities in the UK and it's seamless. So I find huge opportunities if you embrace them. And of course, you've got to make that investment. So we invested a lot on things like smart boards so that classes can be run. So for one classroom itself is 30,000 ringgit. So we put them in 20 classrooms at 600,000. Then you've got your Zoom enterprise licenses. Then you've got your learning management platform. Then you've got your authoring tools. So when we look at it, we dumped in millions of dollars into all of these things and change the whole experience. So we have to go back, look at all the touch points. But the interesting thing here is we now have students, 96 students who have signed up from Hong Kong, fully virtual students to do the law degree with us. And it's a British law degree. We have 100 over students from Singapore. We have students now from India who are wanting to come in with 200 students onto our MBA program. We have 200 coming in from Saudi Arabia. So in a sense, we bought this we invested in a virtual university and acquired it about a year plus ago. We are now with that virtual university and our strong, UK partnership with 30 more universities, then with Australia, putting all this together has come up with something that is about 10 times, ahead of what we were doing 6 months ago. So the offer is tremendous.
Mr. Raja, do you see migration of students like some countries? Getting foreigners or foreign students are big business for them. They have built a lot of physical campuses, the acres and acres, some buildings and all that. Do you think there will be how the prospect of migration of students between countries for education?
I think that will still be there. You see, for me, I think the future mode is going to be this, a hybrid campus. So you run a campus where there are people who are going to be studying on campus, and then you also have the online students. So that's going to be where the growth is. Because I'll tell you, like, when we run on campus, we have something like 2 to 300 different activities. They've got a gym on campus. They've got a swimming pool on campus. They've got their whole, their performing arts center on campus. Next door, we've got football fields, volleyball, basketball, whatever. There's that whole thing that children want to hang around each other. You can do some level of interaction online, but we have to understand that part of it. So as far as we are concerned, all those elements are part of education. You see, today some people sort of say, well, there's no need to do a degree. Just go and get professional certification. Cost 3 months, 6 months, be professionally certified. But a more solid foundation, get the certification together, and that's what we are doing now. So when the students come in for a degree, they study the core content, they can get staged awards, diploma, year one, advanced, whatever it is. They get credentials from top universities around the world, some of the best universities around the world. So they'll get like 18 micro credentials from, it could be from 15 different top universities. And then at the same time, they get professional certifications from the tech giants. So whether it's, doing cloud computing with Amazon or doing, AI with IBM. They get to do that while they're doing their degree. So then when you have that end product, it's a much stronger end product. It's not just, I've got a professional certification, but I don't have a strong foundation. So regarding campuses and so on, campuses will still be there because that's part of their experience. But campuses which are strong should also look at the online side. And what we are doing now is actually going to a digital first thing, where it's a digital first, where we're not looking at, what people call, a lot of companies will now say, I've got a physical campus, and what we call the digital lipstick. You put on a bit of lipstick there, now say, now I've gone digital. But we're looking at a full-fledged digital first approach, which means digital products and, everything is digitized. And then the physical campus is another type of their experience. Now, because students can't come, I think in Malaysia alone this year, there was an 84 to 86% drop in international students because no international students are being allowed to travel in. Some level of courses are being offered online. But this is the opportunity for us to go out. And that is why I find we've actually been able to take a huge advantage of people from outside.
Okay. Well, how do you see past? Going to be a year now. I believe 9 months. The teaching, there's mental issues, and among the lecturers, among the students. Do you see any difference? Are they under pressure to study, or they are more relaxed, no attention given when they are at home? How do you see this? Going forward.
I think mental issues or mental health issues are more from the fact of interaction. Interaction with your friends, interaction with the campus, and if you're locked up. I think in Malaysia when we had the first MCO where everybody was locked up at home and no one could go out, there was a problem where some people need company. You need to be, and you're locked up with just 3-4 people in the house. You see them 24 hours a day, except when you're asleep. That causes problems, and that I think the issues of mental health issues and all have been coming out even before COVID, and I think part of this is to do with this new lifestyle of 24/7 connectivity, online, social media. People can annoy you perpetually in WhatsApp and Facebook and Instagram and whatever. So you need to tune off. But as far as I'm concerned, these are things we're addressing. As a matter of fact, the first 2 weeks when we went in our MQ in March, the first thing we did is we actually ran mental health classes. We had psychologists, we had psychiatrists, we had counselors come in and run sessions for the students and staff on staying happy while you're alone, what you can do to stay connected. We actually ran those as weekly sessions for the initial 2 months as means. And then even for our students, we send out counselors' numbers who they can contact, people on faculty. So mental and currently, like with Rotary, we're actually putting together a mental health conference, a 2-day conference. So it's one of the areas that we strongly look at, and it's there, but people need to be able to cope. And I think in Malaysia now, you'll see, the last 1-2 days have been going out. People are going out like normal. They're out, the restaurants are full. Everybody, I think they can't take it anymore. It's Christmas and New Year. So you see that thing, and that interaction is there. But we are mindful of the fact that the numbers are growing here as well. So mental health is something we've really run a lot of seminars on mental health, a lot of seminars on coping, and that's one of the areas. So the moment we went under the MCO, that week itself, we started running yoga classes, Zumba classes, or everything from fitness, everything online. So students could actually attend those classes online. We started running classes on mental health, coping with being alone, these areas, coping with studying, learning in the new normal. So that's one of the things. Like this webinar today, we were running about 200 over different types of webinars to make sure that people could cope and to make sure that they could access us whenever they need help via WhatsApp or phone or online, because I think that's a crucial aspect. E-learning is not about having a learning management system and then just putting a lot of content there. That's not it. It has to be looked at holistically.
Is there any other question?
Yeah, Mr. Rajasingam, can I ask you a question?
Yes, yes.
Yeah. You see, you did mention that you do sessions for B40. These are the women to build them to become entrepreneurs. There was funding actually generated for them, right? what is the ratio of the success stories of becoming an entrepreneur through your sessions, number one? Secondly, did you use the e-learning platform to actually assist them to generate income through their businesses?
Okay, two things. Number one, when we did this training, normally these trainings were actually women brought to us by other organizations. So they're actually people who are either, given grants, whether it was, that means they are like organizing a Women of Will, tech outreach. So they manage the programs. What we do is we help run the courses. So in other words, they come in for branding, they come in for this, then they have mentors and then structures. So what I know is, in terms of collecting money from these ladies and how they've managed to pay back, it was about 89% of them managed to pay back their money. And then all these women are moderated by different, what we call community mobilizers, who look after the women across different communities. And this was before, because that time the sessions were not done online, sessions were all done face to face. So what we funded from our side, so they would get a grant from that body, which will give them the seed capital for the business, or if they're already in business for that. What we would do is we fund the premises, we fund the trainers, we fund the food for the training when they come in for their 4 days on the weekends, and then we fund their transport. So we pay for their transport. So what we do is to make it such that they're paid for transport, food is covered, training is covered, teaching, and then after that we mentor. Then it goes on to the actual NGO that is actually in charge. So what we do as a group here is this: we work with 250 different NGOs. So all these NGOs come to us, and what we do is we enable them, and then we get the programs to run out. So my feedback from them is about 90% success rate on the ladies who are on this program. Of course, some of them I know personally. Some of them I know were earning about 7,000 ringgit a month, having started with virtually nothing, at about 200, 300 ringgit a month. But these are people that I know personally. But I don't personally train. As you know, we use a lot of trainers here, so the trainers will train them. I don't personally train the B40, but the success rate was about 89%.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. But are you going to plan to look into digital marketing for these people, these women in the near future?
Actually, what we're doing now is we're setting up a platform. We're setting up an online platform where all their products can be put online. So we're going to reach. So whether they're making muruku or they're making nasi lemak or cakes or fruit cakes, this platform is actually being done and will be ready in the next 1 to 2 months. And it's free. I mean, it's free for them. It'll be there. So basically, and the money will be paid directly to these women. We will market these platforms. So that is actually underway. We've actually started setting up a marketplace for all their, items.
Amazing. Thank you so much.
Okay, thanks, sir.
Okay, I think next session is
up.
Any other question?
So
Otherwise,
nice seeing all of you all.
Another one. Before I end, I like to say there's one article today I read about the online challenges in India, especially. I read in the Hindu paper today. One of the challenges they said is all these girls are in a short problem. They say if you're online, you're doing everything in online. Why don't you just get married and stay home? Get married. That is the issue they are facing. Okay. So anyway, I'd like to thank Mr. Rajasingham for your wonderful presentation. I'd like to thank Mr. Pata for the platform, Ms. Catherine, and Mr. Raj for the MC.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you. On the lighter vein, we have got an online platform to get married as well.
I don't know he married or what, I don't know, but okay, take care. Bye.
Okay, bye.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Guna, and thank you, Mr. Rajasingham. Now, I'd like to invite Mr. Pata, who's going to be the moderator for the next session on cybersecurity. A quick introduction about Mr. Pata. He is the CEO of Startup 360, and he's the one providing the technological support for our platform today. Mr. Pata, without delay, I'd like to hand over the floor to you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Welcome, Prem Anand. It has been a very long waiting for you. He has been backstage for the last almost 1 hour or so. So, without spending much time, I request Prem Anand to take the stage and give a self introduction to save a little bit of time, and we'll start the proceedings. Yes, Prem.
Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon, people from India, Malaysia, Singapore, and other countries who are connected here. My name is Prem Anand. I'm basically a software engineering professional for the last 30 years. I started my career with a company in manufacturing lifts, and then moved on to um, networking, telecom, e-commerce, and I work across domains. That is about me. Currently, um, I am the Secretary of Cyber Society of India, a professional body on cyber security. I am also a certified independent director, and right now I'm mentoring a startup on artificial intelligence solutions. Okay, today I've come to talk to you on the cyber security during the pandemic and beyond. Mr. Partha, if we can start with some questions and
Yes, yes,
then
of course.
we discuss.
Prem, as you are
Yes.
aware, this global pandemic affected health sector, economy, social system, and quite a lot of security issues have been triggered because almost each and everybody has gone online. All the payments have gone online, and there is a huge security threat. So, what are that your thoughts about that?
Okay. I've been hearing the previous session. Somebody talked on digitalization, and whatnot. So, with my experience during the last 1 decade on cybersecurity and healthcare, it has become very critical. When we implement solution, I've always been looking at the security part as the first step before we do any architecture on software development. So if you look at the current scenario, starting last March, there has been a lot of attacks in the form of ransomware, phishing, cloning, SIM cloning, ATM attacks, and so on. So across India, the number of users, and across the globe even, the number of users who are using digital space for banking, for financial transactions have increased. And with that, the threats have also increased. So if you look at attacks on ATMs, there have been lots, and especially when people sitting at home, they use their credit card. The credit card frauds have increased. Even I experienced a situation where I got a phone call from State Bank of India saying that your card has not been activated. Can you just read out the number and the CVV number? So immediately I declined, saying that I can always come to your bank. So I am not interested. So these are the kind of attacks that are emerging during the pandemic, because during the pandemic, lots and lots of users who come and use the digital technology, they are not aware of the threats. They are not aware how to use the smartphones. Some of them are new, and some of them are totally agnostic about what is happening behind the scenes. So the threats have increased more in number.
See, actually, one common word we could find out rather like because of this necessity, everybody is forced to have a personal mail ID. Even to operate your Android phone, you need a mail ID. So people now unknowingly, unwittingly do so many silly mistakes. Can you highlight a little bit about this phishing or
Yes.
malware activities?
See, these are very important aspects. When you talk about email hacks or email attacks, I can cite one very important instance which happened during 2012, 2013, I think. You might have heard about a large company called Saudi Aramco, which is a very big oil and natural gas company in the world. And their systems went offline for almost 2 weeks. You know why? Just because one of their employees in the finance department unknowingly clicked on a wrong link which came from a spam mail. Okay, one click on a wrong mail caused something like 30,000 computers almost washed off hard disks. Because of this, the company was not only affected but also the international market when the company went on to purchase something like 30,000 hard disks from a company in Taiwan. So such is the impact of a attack on a simple wrong click on an email. So when you talk about the individuals, you have to be very careful. As you said, you need to have one email ID for configuring your smartphone, an Android phone or whatever. So be careful even while signing up to Google, signing up to Facebook, or signing up to any other social website. You have to give your email ID. So don't give your email ID and the password that is given for your basic email. So there are sites which will prompt you to sign up using your Gmail. So when you use that to sign up for that account, but use a different password. Do not use the same password that is being used for your basic email. So coming to phishing and malware, there are lots of websites which are posing to be a lookalike of bank websites. So for example, a bank like ICICI, which may look like in a browser like a 1C1CI, will look like ICICI. So it will take you to a different site, and when the user clicks, it goes on to a hacker's website, and all your money is gone in a shot. So that is an example of phishing. Malware, I told you about the wrong email link. There is something else called ransomware. Ransomware is another attack wherein when you click on an email, say for example you get a mail from an e-commerce site saying that this is the offer we have, you just click here, get coupons, you get discounts, and then your $50 free for you, go and purchase anything. So when you click, it will ask you for certain bank details of yours, and then it will take you a different side. I will give you an example. I got an email saying that you get an iPhone for almost 90% discount. So when you click, it takes you to a page where you give all your details, you sign up. I just signed up using my Google account. Then I went into the profile and saw that my phone number, my address was not there. It was showing someone else's address in some other city. So what happens when you go and sign up? You always look at the profile that you're joining with. So you try to match your details with the profile that is there in your account. If it is a different one, when you order, all the items goes to the person who is mentioned there. So this is very dangerous. So these are some examples of phishing and malware threats. And ransomware, coming to ransomware is a kind of threat where you click on an email and then you get a blank screen saying that your computer is compromised. You have to give so much of money, otherwise you will not be able to use your computer. That's it. Partha?
Yeah. While talking about phishing, you talked about this identical hyperlinks, 1C,
Yes.
1CI. But there are
Yeah.
some cases, no? For example, I have a website called IS360. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And the people manage to send fictitious mail IDs with the same domain. So
Okay.
spoofing. So how to identify such attacks and how to prevent as a e-commerce portal owner or something like that, how it can be fixed.
The first basic thing when you register a domain, you also subscribe for a domain privacy. Okay, for an additional amount you can do this will stop you from your domain being cloned by somebody through some technological advancement, and it will also stop uh, your identity being given even on who is, and people will not know publicly who is the owner of this website and where he's operating from.
Correct. Excellent. See, today is a 283rd day I went out of my house thanks to
Okay.
Corona. But of course, working from home, we did so many things. What's your experience working from home? And do you feel that any threat involved because of the work from home culture?
For me, personally, if you ask, work from home is not new. Uh, just because I've been working remotely for the last 2.5 years for various reasons. For ease of work, because I always avoid a lot of traveling. When I have some technology, when I have some device, when my client allows me to operate from home, I chose to do that. The second reason was my mom was not well, so sometimes I had to be at home and couldn't move immediately on demand. So these were the reasons. But for me, it was not new. It was very useful because I read a lot of books. You don't find a lot of people reading books these days. So people who cannot confine themselves to books when they cannot move out, it is a little bit difficult. And people who cannot afford technology, who cannot afford devices for connection, if they are not provided by their employer, then it is difficult.
Excellent, excellent. Now, do you feel that this cyber security has affected to great extent of this healthcare sector?
Yes, before that, I would also like to mention one point on working from home. It has its advantages in the sense that people travel less, so there is less pollution. And what are the disadvantages? Disadvantages are your boss is always looking out for you, you're always on your toes. So those are the disadvantages. Second disadvantages, technically, is that you don't have the kind of protected network environment as you had in your office. Whenever you had a network problem, whenever there was a threat, whenever there was a malware that is coming into your desktop, you always had your administrator who could help you. Here you have to take care of yourself. You have to have a proper protected network. One advice to people, technology people who work from home, is probably you can use a remote desktop which lands on your office computer rather than using other types of connection. So coming back, Partha, sorry,
Yes,
to
sir.
your next question on healthcare. Healthcare sector, which was definitely most affected, both in terms of cyber security and otherwise. Uh, on one part, we had a lot of challenges in people coming to hospital, working, helping patients, at the same time protecting themselves. Second, on the digital side, um, there are a lot of hospitals which are network. Especially if you see the NHS in UK, the systems went down, and due to a cyber attack during this period, many patients were not able to visit the doctor or get an appointment because of a cyber attack. So, what was the reason? The reason they found is most of the hospitals that got affected in UK were using systems that didn't have Windows patches properly installed. So this was one of the basic things in healthcare sector. One is proper patches. The second one, today we have a lot of devices, right from radiology to neuro. There are lots of devices which are connected through Bluetooth, Wi-Fi, and all kinds of network. these devices, they emit the patient data which goes to the central server. There are lots of IoT based devices also which come into play. And if you see the maturity of the IoT firmware is not as matured as the normal hardware or software. These are two reasons why healthcare industry got affected.
Excellent. See, something like this credit card fraud or debit card fraud. Have you ever come across this health card frauds?
Yes. Um, Healthcare data, see, if you see basic the Data Privacy Act that was implemented in Europe, and today we have the Data Prevention Bill, which is a protection bill that is coming up in India, and across the globe, every government is trying to protect its citizens' data by bringing an act of parliament. If you look at hacks, the hacks have started happening long back. The reason being, the hackers are more networked than the chief information security officers for various reasons. If you look at the latest news last week in India, there are about 70,000 credit card, debit card details that were exposed and available on the dark web. You know what is the dark web, which all the hackers operate, which
Exactly.
is available for a price. Okay. In the same way, the healthcare data can also be hacked. I don't have a exact example of where it happened, but there are 4 or 5 cases in the US. I don't have the names of the healthcare institutions where close to from 5 to 10 million patients' data were hacked, and they were taken out. They were sold to various parties like insurance and other even types of criminals who could take this data.
Exactly. We have seen movies like the data being stolen and particular blood group people are targeted and then like their organs being sold and then like hefty money being made and also huge hefty amount of insurance being claimed on their name or something like that.
Correct,
Anyway,
exactly. For organ transplant and organ trading, this data is used. When you said um, about the impersonation. Uh,
correct.
I hope you all would remember the old Sean Connery film called Never Say Never Again, where the James Bond catches the criminal who impersonates as the president of US through a retinal implant. This happened in a movie some 2 or 3 decades ago, and
30
today
years
it's
back.
true.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Excellent. See, the one another challenge what I feel is the corporate network periphery is almost vanishing. Okay, so what are the challenges you find out of it? So,
This again goes back to your question of working from home. So working from home, and during the pandemic and before the pandemic, it was something like bring your own devices. So you bring your own devices. The corporate network doesn't know how much your device is protected. I came across one kind of a smartphone from Samsung where they sold to corporates in bulk. So and they also installed a particular hardware based app which comes with the Samsung phone. So when these employees bring these tabs or phones into the office premises, it will automatically disconnect them from their whatever SIM based network they have, and they will be on their office network. And once they step out of their office, it will go back to their SIM based network. This is one way the corporates could protect. But looking largely at this aspect, the disappearance of perimeter. So what happens is that there are a lot of people who are on the move during the pandemic. People are working from home. They are working through a virtual private network, remote desktops, and so on. So we have to protect all kinds of devices, all kinds of operating system. Then it becomes a huge challenge. So you have to be specific about your employees who are sitting outside, from whatever devices they are coming. That has to be registered, and that has to be certified by the corporate. And the corporate at large should look at their cloud-based infrastructure. When they look at their cloud-based infrastructure, are they having a proper service level agreement with their vendors and their associates and the ecosystem, and also insecure endpoints and devices. These are some very important points, like insecure endpoints, meaning the edge routers in their corporate network. As a corporate network grows large, you also have the challenges coming in.
Excellent. My next question has got three parts. I'm going back to the industry. Okay, so how
Good.
can they cope up with the cyber threats? Because now this video conferencing, Zoom meetings, and I think they have become very common things. Okay, and also how the business continuity will be impacted because of the cyber threat.
Okay, coming to virtual conferencing. Okay, um, I think 4 or 5 years back, people started using virtual platform for conferencing, board meetings, and there are government regulations which were altered, which were amended to allow virtual meetings to happen with certain norms and certain parameters. Okay, so when you use virtual conferencing, you have to protect your devices. At the same time, you also have to protect the information that you're sharing during the virtual meeting. One classic example of a large corporate in Qatar, a malware um, by name Flame got installed, and then the whole boardroom meeting was recorded with audio and video and sent to a different server in a different country. This was, of course, a state-sponsored attack. So this is a big one. So you have to be very careful. You have to see who is recording what. Um, Somebody who you have to look at everyone to identify themselves who joins the meeting. Have a 2 or 3 step authentication, and you should know their name. You have to see them on the video at least once before they come into the discussion. Otherwise, there is every chance they could have even a recording device at their other end, and then leak information as an insider threat. So the next point you were raising about the manufacturing sector, am I right, Partha?
Yes, sir.
Okay. See, typically, to start with, few decades ago, when somebody wanted to start a business, they always started a business with a physical infrastructure that is protected and a capital as an investment. Today, you need capital in the form of money as an investment. You need a physical infrastructure, some security measures to protect the physical infrastructure, as well as a virtual protection to protect your virtual infrastructure. This is the third component that is coming in. So if you look at manufacturing, typically 10, 20 years ago, you always plan for your shop floor activities 2 or 3 or 4 weeks in advance. You just take a printout. For example, if you're an automobile manufacturer, uh, you send your 3 week plan to your associated vendors who are listed with you, by taking a printout and then couriering it to them. It takes almost 10 to 15 days for them to get it, and then when they start planning it, the third week is almost through. So the technologists came into the solution by connecting all the vendors. So the vendors would join, will directly log into the manufacturing system. They will look at the plan for the next 4 weeks. They would take a printout themselves from their end, and then start shipping the spare components to the factory. So what are the challenges here? Does the whole ecosystem of your vendors and your sales outlets, are they properly connected to your network? Are they in compliance with your security, cyber security posture, is the next question. If they are not, are you creating enough awareness? Are you conducting continual training programs, not only for your employees across the organization, right from your manufacturing setup to your sales team, but also to the third party vendors and subcontractors who are connected to your subsystem? So if you do that, then the whole system would be protected. This will stop any malware or phishing attacks from happening. What is your third question, Partha?
Third question, we have answered all the three parts. What is that?
Yeah, have I
Uh,
answered? Okay.
Now the buzzword because of this financial crunch is reduction in manpower, reduction in investment, and the axe comes mainly on the IT. Okay, and the
Okay.
buzzword is cloud services.
Okay.
So you feel it is a boon or it is a threat, or what's your viewpoint on that?
Good question. Typically, the protection of a network or cyber security till some time back was the headache of the IT department. So anything related to technology and the security, they always put the onus on the chief information officer. But today, with the increasing number of threats, artificial intelligence based threats, and cyber threats coming through various platforms, now we have a separate setup called Chief Information Security Officer and his central office. Okay. Now these people look at not only the corporate network, but they also look at the network that comes in from outside, like Amazon based cloud services or Microsoft based cloud services, and how the virtual private network is connected from the corporate entity to these servers which are sitting outside the premises, maybe outside the country even sometimes. First step, have a proper service level agreement with your cloud providers. See if the cloud providers security posture is in compliance with the security policies of your organization. The security policies of your organization have to be built in conjunction with discussions with your chief technology officer and the department, as well as the people who are connected from outside. So once you discuss this, have a proper service level agreement with the vendors who will hold your data and who will be questionable in terms of any compromise in future, then you are well protected. So basic thing is proper service level agreement, proper network infrastructure, proper connectivity between your entity and the entity that is outside, and for a proper business continuance plan. If something goes wrong, what happens? If there is an attack, so any company, any entity should not look at reacting after an incident happens. You have to be proactive. I will give you an example. There were two large attacks during the last 10 years. One, everybody knows about the Sony Corporation. When the servers were affected, they were not able to do anything. This was a state-sponsored attack from North Korea. And the second one is the Saudi Aramco attack. During both these attacks, what happened? The company had both companies had a business continuance plan. What they did, Saudi Aramco, they disconnected their network from outside. They started working with typewriters and fax machines. They didn't stop their business. They were doing business with fax machines and typewriters. They gave away free oil to their local partners, and handwritten checks were given to their employees during the 2-week shutdown, after which the network came back. So importance is having proper agreements with your partners, and having a proper business continuance plan, which will not stop your business while you are remaining protected from the outside world. Yes, Partha? Hello? Any questions, Partha?
Mr. Pathar?
Yeah.
Are you there?
Yes, of course, I am there. It's a very mind-blowing session, Prem. It is so nice of you.
Yes, thank
The
you.
best doctor not only diagnoses the threat, he also suggests the medication for that. So one line advice.
Yes.
One line advice.
One line advice. Okay. Constantly change your passwords, and then have a two-step authentication. If possible, have a biometric authentication. Personally, on the office front, always have proper agreements with partners who are on your ecosystem. Install proper patches. Secure insecure endpoints, and protect your network by having a proper cyber security risk plan. If it happens, what will you do? Rather than when it happens, how will I handle it?
Excellent. Very nice of you, Prem. So I hope that 2021 we will have not only coronavirus free and also our system virus free. Thanks for joining us and thanks for a valuable time. Yes,
Thank
Guna,
you.
please take.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you very much to Mr. Pata and also Mr. Prem Anand. It was a very enriching
Thank
session
you.
again for cybersecurity. We all look forward for next year to be a productive year and a free year from Corona so that we can actually move on with our businesses. Right. Our final session for today's program is AI, Artificial Intelligence, by Mr. V. Rajaram from Veltech University, Chennai, and Dr. C.M. Vigneshwaran from Ampere Consultancy. The moderator for this session is Ms. Bhavani Perisami. Now, allow me to introduce the moderator to all of y'all. Okay. Ms. Bhavani is actually she's
One
actually
second, Catherine, I have
yeah.
a small amendment over here. In fact, Mr. Rajaram is not well. Okay, so in his
Okay.
place, Professor Raj Kumar has joined us from SRM University. Professor,
Okay,
can you
thank
come
you.
online? Professor, can you come online, please? Yeah.
Okay. Welcome, Professor. Welcome.
Yeah.
Okay.
Good
Right.
evening.
Thank you, Mr. Pata, for highlighting it.
Thank
So
you.
before we pass to the moderator, allow me to introduce Ms. Bhavani. She's here. Welcome, Ms. Bhavani. Ms. Bhavani is actually a certified coach, gratitude advocate, and also the president of Malaysian Association of Professional Speakers. Welcome, Ms. Bawani, again. Ms. Bawani, can someone mute your speaker, please? Okay, right? Okay, right. Thank you. Now, Ms. Bawani comes from an IT background. She has been involved in the training industry for the past 11 years. Prior to that, she has been in the sales line for both IT and training industry. Her passion has always been in the area of learning and development from a young age, as she is from a background whereby a lot of teachers in the family. She's also very curious about understanding a person's cognitive abilities and behavioral characteristics. So with that, Ms. Bawani, I pass the floor to you. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Ms. Catherine. Good evening and welcome, everyone. Good evening, Professor Rajkumar, and good evening, Dr. Wicks.
Good evening.
Can I just probably have Prof. Rajkumar to just quickly introduce yourself, followed by
Yes. So
quick
myself,
intro, please.
yeah, I'm working here for in SRM. I'm working for more than 8 years. I teach artificial intelligence. That's my interest as well as my passion, and I do my and also the virtual reality and augmented reality. That's other favorite subjects. And I wrote a book called India 2030, which is a visionary book for all the technologies, how the India look like at India. I mean, after 10 years. So that is the book covering all the book. That's my small introduction.
Professor, you are very modest. I request you to add few lines about your humanoid, which you have developed for SRM University. Few words,
Yes.
please.
Yeah. Last Kalam's birthday, I have developed a small humanoid, which is 6 feet, the same height, which it can, I mean, due to the corona issue, the teaching also completely remote, so that even the teachers cannot go and visit for the campus. So instead of that, they can go virtually, they can adopt for the humanoid. And even not only one teacher, even the 10 teacher also same time they can visit the classroom premises and laboratories. That kind of application they can make it by using the humanoid. Probably I will be displaying that in maybe the meanwhile. And also that humanoid is even for AICT visits, and the lot of visits are there for aggregation purpose. So from the Delhi or somewhere else, they have a team they have to come to for every academics campus. So they cannot come, especially this time, so that they can visit, they can operate from the remote from anywhere in the world. Then they can visit just like in virtual mode. So that is all about.
Thank you so much, Professor. I'm looking forward to grab hold of your book and having a read of
Sure.
it. Dr. Wicks, could you perhaps just quickly introduce yourself?
Hi. Good evening, actually, in Malaysia. Bawani and Prof, and also all the fellow participants around. I'm Vix. I'm not an academician, or I'm not a technology guy, but nevertheless, when IR 4.0 started in Germany, I was there during the launch, and we brought the system into Malaysia. At that point of time, I was working with the government. Currently, I'm the chairman of Ramsol Group, which is a public listed group. So that's about it.
Thank you so much, Dato. Our topic today is artificial intelligence, and I just would like to start by asking both of you, in very simple language, very simple terms, what is AI so that our viewers can understand? Perhaps there are some people who find this term new to them. How would you explain this in a very simple term?
Yeah,
One of
Vivek,
you
you may
could go first.
Yeah, please.
Okay, Prof is there, so he can correct me if I am not exactly right. So AI is actually a system where it thinks independently using the data collected, and it can give you decisions based on that. In a very, very simple term. I was very interested listening to the AI 6-7 years ago when the Google team approached us, and we had a chat with them, and they told me how one of the supermarkets. I think this is a famous case in most of the books. Supermarket actually sent a pregnancy product to one house, and in that house there was a mother who actually stopped producing kids, but there was a child, 14-year-old child, and the father got a bit upset, so he actually wrote to the supermarket and complained. And when the VP wanted to come and apologize, then the father apologized and said that, okay, yeah, my daughter is pregnant. So the introduction to AI was done to me with this story actually 6-7 years ago when I was in the government. So they came and told me the story. They said this is how prediction is going to happen, and immediately reminded me of Minority Report, the movie, where you think that you want to do a crime, and but it is not up to that extent. But on my understanding, that's AI. Like maybe the prof can give a bit more academic kind of approach to the question.
Okay.
Prof, over to you.
So you just, you just given and you just left to the stage, hold the stage. So now I am the person to explain everything. Okay. So AI is, as my vision and as my understanding, AI is just like a child. Okay. So how the child can behave in a crowd, how the child can behave in a new environment, what actually we have to teach to the child. It doesn't know anything. Okay, it has some basic qualities, but within the basic some qualities, how we can, with utilizing that child mentality, how actually we can give some kind of behavior thing. Okay, after that, after it learn, then it will overcome us. Even nowadays, my child is just 2 years old, but he knows all the channels and what are the advertisement is coming, everything he knows, the memory and everything. So that because he's getting trained every day, but we cannot spend time like that. So that is all about AI, and even that is about a child comparison. And another that AI is just a foolish machine. Okay. So whatever we are, yeah. So whatever, just like a computer, whatever we are giving it, that can understand it, and it has some limitation. Every AI is a weak AI. There is no strong AI. Just like a human, we don't have any strong AI. Every AI is a weak AI. But how actually we are using it for our purpose, we have to use it. That should not be using us. Okay, so we have to use his time and his memory and his everything, but it should not use our own time and memories, right? So that is the perspective of the AI.
Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you.
If everyone would understand that. Now I just would like to ask from a business perspective, knowing what we know, and knowing that AI has been around for several years, what do you see happening with businesses around us? What are some of the challenges that business face in adopting AI?
Is it a question for me?
Yeah, you can start first and then we're going to ask Dr. Weeks.
Okay, so Vivek, I think he will give more insight on that in terms of business. So as per my understanding, what I used to teach for the students, AI is just like electricity for the future. So nowadays, even for a Tamil Kukramam level, it is electricity is reached, right? So without electricity, we cannot survive nowadays. Even we cannot sleep. If we sleep, we cannot wake up. Everything is connected with electricity. So the same thing will going to happen in near future. Just like electricity, it will spread its wings, and it will spreading like anything. Already we are using it. We are all the people in the world, they are become the AI users. So probably it may happen in around maybe in maximum in 5 years. So all the just like electricity, it will spread like anything. And one more thing, for a business purpose, now we have to there should be a knowledge, right? So there is no people, just like before 10 years ago, we used to call a literacy. If there is no literacy, they cannot fit in the market. And nowadays we call it as a digital literacy. Okay, even they are whether they have got the degree or not doesn't matter. Whether they can promote themselves digitally or not. If they are promote themselves digitally, they can sustain their business. Otherwise, they cannot do it. Now,
Okay.
Professor,
again, yeah. Now
I
I
would
am
like
just
to add. Yeah, carry on. I'll tell you.
yeah. Now I
You
just
carry.
introduce one more term that's called AI literacy. So artificial intelligence literacy that is going to be in the future. So all the business people they have to make a strategy plan. They have to cover all the business. I mean the plan and even the C2, B2C and I mean the C2C and the I mean the corporate or anything. Everything is should comes under the underline of the AI. So that is my wish. Yeah.
Well, correct. I'll club both the points. AI is electricity. It is a necessity, but you should not touch it with naked hands. That is one thing. And you should have the awareness, like if you touch at the wrong point, it is going to give you a bigger shock, fourfold to you all. Please carry on.
Yeah. It's absolutely right. Yes.
Thank you, Mr. And, Prof. So for me, the AI is something, I mean, like what Prof said just now, it has been around for a long time. Very simply put, my mother, we used to own a tea stall. So the moment a customer comes in, she can recognize this customer needs this kind of tea, strong decantation, or more milk, or more sugar, and stuff like that. So using that, she actually prepares the tea, different kind of tea leaves actually. So for this person, she will put this kind of tea leaf. This person, she put it. So they have that. So now with the technology, computation technology that comes in and stuff like that, SMEs actually can do it automatically. Assuming you have a restaurant again, you sell 200 plates of rice, you can actually decide on, okay, this is the amount of rice I'm going to sell. I mean, amount of plates of food I'm going to sell. So how much should I order? What is the prediction that it will happen? So in the historically, just say 2 years ago or 1 year ago in this month, maybe it's a fasting month, so all vegetarian food, non-veg will not sell that particular month. So those kind of prediction can be done. So exactly what Prof said, AI is something that you cannot live without now these days. But the extent that you're going to apply it on your business is going to be different from one person to another person. That's going to be very difficult. If you're going to talk about huge corporations and stuff like that, they can invest on machines, they can invest on a data scientist to do predictions and those kind of things. But if you are a small time player, then it's going to be a very scaled down and very simple process. But my belief is without AI, businesses can't grow. That's very simply put. I mean, you can be a small restaurant or a food stall or a grocery store and stuff like that. With AI, decision making is going to be made much more easier because it is automated and it can give you a sort of thing. So with with computer power, I was watching a movie. They said now handphones have 50 times more computer power than what they shot the Apollo 13 rocket into. So the computing power is already there already. So what businesses need to do is actually embrace it and do it. So don't be afraid of the technology. I speak to a lot of what they call business owners out there. First thing when I talk to them about AI, all these things, they will say, "Oh, Yovena, is too much for me. It's going to be very expensive and stuff like that." So they have to come out from the paradigm. I mean, there is solutions is going to be very expensive, but there are solutions is going to be very simple and easy to be implemented for your capability of business. So it's going to be that. So that's my take on AI for businesses.
Okay, thank you very much, Dato. So we have actually established that digital literacy is very, very crucial when it comes to AI, and we've also sort of covered what needs to be done and where are the gaps. But I have one question, and I think this is a question that I myself would like to know. We speak about, Dato, you just mentioned, don't be afraid, go into it. But how? Where do we start? How? Whether it's the technology or the platforms, how I remember you said earlier your mom, she analyzes, but that's manual. But really going into AI, how does the business people around us, businesses, whether it's small, big corporations, where do they start? What's the first thing that they need to do, or where can they
I think we got the question right. Vex, you make, yeah, you make that.
Prof?
Yeah.
Okay. I think most importantly, there's a three steps that an organization needs, whether big or small. It needs the leadership. That means the business owner has to make the decision to implement the AI. That's definitely one of it. The other one is infrastructure, the infra that you need to set up the AI, and also data. What kind of data do you want to collect to do the AI? So these are three basic things that you need to do. But most of the time is the fear that people have going into the system. If I'm running a business, if I'm running a small manufacturing, very simple manufacturing, and my profit is so much, and I don't see a need to go into the AI thing. So as a consultant, again, when I speak to people, first of all, I will try to bring the digital, medical, the money sense into it. I mean, dollar and cent sense. If you are going to implement this is how much you're going to save on your productivity, or this is how much you're going to save. So I give one particular example. We had this one company that's produced nets. They're quite big in Malaysia, and they had an issue where they got a lot of orders which they go sent it out wrongly, assuming that they wanted 1 kilo of ropes. This guy actually do it manufacture, and they will label it wrongly, and they will send it over to the other to their customer, maybe 1.4 kilos or 1.3 kilos or something like that. Later they will return back, and the process actually going. So what I did was I went in, I say, look here, this is how much your accounts people will spend in a year, and this is how much your warehouse people have to rectify the process they're going to do. I quantified it, I put it into an amount. I told them, look here, if you implement this system using AI and to track I mean, we put all the other devices, IoT devices into it to track, and also to tell you whether the shipment is going correct or not. You're going to save like $500,000 ringgit a year. So in 5 years' time, you're going to recover back the cost you have invested. So when we go on that perspective, customers will be a bit more receptive to the idea, and they said, okay, let's come in. I'm willing to take it up. But unless we can show that, I think that's going to be a tough sell out there. And of course, the fear of digital. I mean, I can't imagine talking to my late father about AI to him. He will sure smack my head and say, "Poda idu." He will push me aside. But nevertheless, you need to know some kind of basic knowledge and stuff like that.
Prof, what about you? What insights do you have on this?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm agreeing with Vex's words. And one more thing I just want to add: without business, without business, there is no need of technology. So technology is just just a enabling of the business. So they should know what is the business and what will work, and how actually they can market their business. So based on the idea only, and AI or whatever the technology, it should enable their skills, and then they will extend their customers to reach the whatever the platform they want to reach it. Okay, so I mean, they should have the basic knowledge. AI cannot make anything. AI itself cannot make anything, but they should have where to apply and where to not apply, and everything they should know it. So then only it is worth to apply for it. For a small tea shop, there is no need of AI, and for a small, for a 5 to 10 customers per day, just like a grocery store, there is no need of AI. But where we need a pattern, we need a record, we need the data sets. After that, we can make some kind of decision. Okay, the same kind of shops, if we are put into T Nagar, okay, that we can make it nearly 1,000 customers per day. So that is record. Okay, the data sets and whatever we are day-to-day activities, we have to record it, and then we can make it for AI to make some decisions. So that is my input.
I think talking about data also, Bhavani, continuing from Professor, I also have seen a lot of customers who actually collect the wrong data. They unnecessary data. So there's two problems into here. When you make decision, this data doesn't become helpful, but at the same time, it hinders the right decision to be made because they collected the wrong data. So understanding what kind of data need to be collected, when true enough, the data scientists won't know. They can design the system for you, but the business owners ultimately will have to tell you, okay, this is the particular data you need to collect. This is important data for our business. So it goes back to the operations guys. So the operations guys need to know that this data is necessary, needed, and for them to go into AI. So I agree with Prof. Ultimately, collecting data is the most important thing need to be done, but the correct data needs to be collected.
Yes.
Thank you, Dato. Thank you, Prof. I just want to drill down on another question and the B2B and B2C channel. Any of you can answer this. Maybe I would like to ask Prof. Rajkumar on this.
Yes.
Prof?
Yes. Nowadays, I mean, in terms of e-commerce, am I audible?
Yes, yes, you are.
Okay. Okay. Partha sir, I think I'm inaudible. I'm only in the crowd or among us. I'm not audible for crowd, I think. The panel, please enable. Yeah. Partha sir?
Okay.
Yes, yes. Now I'm audible. Okay. So the thing is, um, in terms of B2C, normally the e-commerce platform, the buying pattern and what is actually we don't like, we like it, and everything completely it is traceable by the Amazon or Flipkart, any other e-commerce sites. We can trace it there, actual patterns, and then maybe we can give some of offers by A itself. There is no man intervention. So even Amazon and Flipkart, every e-commerce platform, they have completely utilized the AI advantages for their selling purpose and marketing purpose. There, that is a one term that's called a B2C. That's called a business to client or whatever. And B2B, in terms of B2B, that's a supply chain management role is there. So for any manufacturing sectors, even for e-commerce and e-learning platform, that is also comes under now B2B. Even some e-commerce, I mean some e-learning platforms, especially for Coursera, those things. As an institution, we also depending on that. We used to give some kind of MOOC learning to our students. So that is also is emerging technology. So we can focus on for B2B learning. And if you just think over it, before 5 years ago, we have a chat bot. I mean the chat option for our every Gmail, and we used to do chat our friends who is in foreign countries. Nowadays there is no chat operations. We do directly video calls, but that chat and everything whatever we have chatted, that is trying to for chatbot application for Google or any other kind of personal assistance. The same thing now, actually we are in the era our video completely our video and how we are speaking and how our actually our um, how the way we are expressing our knowledge and everything, that's even Google Meet and Zoom and everything is they are parallelly working on it, even our behavior and everything. So they know, even we don't know about us, but they don't know, I mean they know everything about us. So that is the thing. B2B and B2C is working towards the implementing the AI platform.
Thank you, Professor. So we are coming very close to our ending time, and we have gone through and understood how important data is and digital literacy is. Just to sum up our whole session, could I just ask both of you to share one word business owner and the viewers that we have, your last
Bhavani,
advice for people on AI?
Bhavani, I have a
We
small
can't
request.
get it, ma'am.
No,
Can
I
you
have
repeat
a small
the question?
request. Before her question, I have a small request. She's
Sure.
almost to wind up this session. I
Okay.
believe that you had a small presentation about your humanoid. For the benefit of the viewers, I will be much obliged if you can share your screen and show the presentation, if you feel worth it, Professor Rajkumar.
Yeah.
I think you should see it, Prof. Put it up.
Yeah. Okay. So I can share my screen, right?
Yes, sir,
Sure.
you can.
Yeah. Yeah. Actually, I don't have my good presentation on my humanoid. I have some photos. I think that is enough, right?
Yeah, is it copyrighted or what? You are not
It is.
willing to share it?
No, no, no copyright. I have applied the patent. There is no worries. just
please.
share my screen. Okay, just a minute. I will take it first and then I will share my screen. Yeah. So the Facebook page called the Virtual Professor. That is a Facebook page we have created. Virtual Professor Humanoid 1. Even you can also check it.
Have you shared the screen? Could you see that bottom? Yeah.
I'm just sharing my. I'm just sharing my screen. So this is the operation. Is it visible? The screen?
No. You are not shared it yet.
Is it visible, sir? Oh, okay. I didn't share it. Yeah. Is it visible now? So it can move anywhere from the remote. It should access the Wi-Fi, and I'm sorry.
Yeah, it is there.
So I'm just sharing. Yeah. So I have some photos with that. Sorry, I'm not prepared for that. Sudden. Okay.
You are not shared it yet, Professor.
Is it visible?
Yeah, now it is.
So actually, for my son only, I made it. For his, he has to play it with that. So even for yeah, this is a small video clip. I didn't make it for any professional kind of stuff. Okay, because since I have applied for patent, so after the comment, when the part of the conversation only, I am going for it. Okay.
Nice. I will check that out right after this. I'm curious to see
Yes,
more
yes.
of that video.
Yes.
So coming back to our conversation earlier, any last words for our viewers? Prof, would you like to start first?
Yeah. In terms of, can I repeat? Can I have your question back once?
Oh, okay. One final word, any advice or any suggestion that you would like to give our viewers before we end our session on AI? Any last words?
Again, I have to repeat the same thing. That just focus about the business and technology will come together. That's it. Okay. Don't focus too much on technology. That is my advice or suggestion or whatever thing you can take it. Yeah.
Okay. Dato, yourself?
Yeah, I agree with him. You must have the money first for you to do AI. Or any other technology change you want to do. But nevertheless, most of the time I see a lot of businesses have the founding base that you need to do in order for you to do AI or technology change or data science or something like that is you have to have the culture of a PDCA. You plan, do, check, and action. So if you don't have that particular culture of having quality control in your environment, you don't have any base at all. So you need to have that particular PDCA cycle embedded into your organization or your business, where decisions can be made. So once you have that particular PDCA cycle or a quality control kind of system in your environment, then things will fall into place. Then that's the first step. So if you're an organization who don't do this PDCA cycle, you have to start doing it before even you think go dabble into IR 4.0 or other other places. So you don't do that. So for all the business owners out there who are want to go into this what you call modernization or digitization of your business. So start having a PDCA cycle built into your decision-making process. Then I think that will help a lot. So that's my last word for that.
Thank you so much, Dato'. Thank you so much, Professor. As we conclude the session, I hope the viewers have gained something from the session, either an idea or a perspective, or even understanding what AI is. And it all goes back to knowing that data is very important and digital literacy is very important. With that, I'm going to sign off and hand over back to Madam Catherine. Madam Catherine, back to you.
Thank you very much, Ms. Bhavani. And thank you also for the two speakers, Professor Rajkumar and Dr. Vigneswaran. It was surely gave us a strong indicator on how we can use AI in our daily businesses, and it plays a very important role in our current businesses as well. So with that, I pass back to Raj. Raj, back to you. Raj, are you there? Mr. Raj? Hold on, ladies and gentlemen.
I hope you can hear me.
Yes, we can. Thank you.
Okay. So thank you again to all the speakers. Okay, it's been a very long day, and it's a very fruitful day with a lot of information has been shared. Okay, and now we are coming to the the closing of the ceremony. For that, I like to invite Mr. A. Ravindran, who is our GOPIO International Secretary General, to share a couple of words to close the ceremony or close the event.
Thank you, Raj. First of all, let me congratulate the speakers, the participants, and also all those people are involved in this, in making this a big success. I see there's a lot of good things has been shared and shared by young professors, people with a lot of experience, especially in this IT environment, also in this how to manage within the COVID environment. These are very what you call forward-looking views, which I hope all of us can take note and then use this information, use this knowledge to actually progress, not only for yourself, never forget the community that you are with, to drag them along and guide them along. This is important. That I must take this opportunity as a closing thing to thank all the speakers and moderators. Believe me, although I didn't attend all the sessions, but the little that I gone through, they have all excellent speakers and very knowledgeable. There's a lot to learn. Congratulations to all the speakers and moderators. I'm sorry I can't mention one by one because of time factor. I also want to say to the partners, Mr. Partha, the CEO of the 360 startup, and Mr. Ravi of Ekar Gola. I hope I said it right, for helping us to give us this platform. From GOPIO perspective, this is our first experience working on a platform like this. And I want to thank Mr. Partha and Mr. Ravi for the excellent coordination. And of course, I come to understand there are 151 participants overall. This is a good number. Perhaps if you do it another time, probably people will have seen the quality of work that has been done in this group. Probably will attract more people to participate. And the other one is we will never forget our sponsors. I specifically want to mention the Amper Consulting and Trading for their support, IBMC Singapore, and One Total Logistics Malaysia Sdn for their support too, for sponsoring this event. And also, I came to know that we have participants, specifically some GOPIO. Singapore was very actively involved. And I also saw GOPIO Myanmar there, my good friend Mr. Ravindra, and also GOPIO Malaysia, and not forgetting, to me, our motherland India, the amount of work the people from the Indian continent. I very good participation, and take this opportunity also congratulate the entire GOPIO Malaysia committee headed by Mr. Gunasekharan for having put this together effectively. And tomorrow is the physical conference, which will see more eye-to-eye interaction. I hope that also will be a big success. And based on all this, I once again want to thank all of you, especially the team that worked behind this whole show, for the excellent work done. And we look forward to more to come. And to all of you, those who are in business, those who are in the NGOs, my only message wherever I go, I say, we all have a responsibility to prepare the platform for our next generation. As how in Malaysian context, when our forefathers from India came and cleared the jungles and roads and all those things built for us to take off from there. And as we age, we have a responsibility of setting up the platform so that our next generation of people can take off from there and take the community to greater heights. This is very important because I want to remind, in the ancient days, the Indians are the one who gave value systems. The Indians gave the many systems, many things, value, tradition, culture, and also religion, spirituality. We were once the major contributor to the GDP of the world. For some reasons, over many years of invasions, we have lost that thing, and I think we have that responsibility to regain the glory. And because we people, we do not conquer lands, we conquer the hearts of people. Our historically, we all know. So, as the Secretary General of GOPIO International, global people of Indian origin, this is something very close to my heart, and I hope all of you share this sentiment. And as we progress, let's progress together and share as much as possible. Once again, congratulations and thank you very much. Back to you, Mark. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Ravindran. Okay, with that, we will be ending our session. Thank you for all your support until we see in another event. And for those in Malaysia, looking forward to meet you all tomorrow at Bukit Kera Equestrian Resort. Till then, signing off, Raj and
Catherine Lutz, thank you very much. And it was a blessing spending this entire day with all of you.
Okay, bye. Thank you all.
Thank you.